I was 13 when my parents decided I was too much and left me behind. No warning, no explanation, just gone. 15 years later, they showed up at my door, asking for help. Not gradually, not in pieces, all at once. One day, I had a home. The next, I didn't. It wasn't a dramatic fight. No shouting, no broken plates or slammed doors. That almost would have been easier to understand. Instead, it was quiet, too quiet. I came home from school that day expecting the usual. Backpack dropped near the door. Shoes kicked off. A quick, "I'm home." No answer. At first, I didn't think anything of it. Maybe they stepped out. Maybe they'd be back soon. But as minutes turned into an hour, something felt wrong. The house was empty, not just physically, emotionally, like something had been removed from it. I walked into the living room. The couch was still there. The TV, the table, everything looked normal until I noticed what wasn't. Pictures, gone. The frames still sat on the shelves, but they were empty. My chest tightened. I moved to the kitchen, opened the fridge, half empty, cabinets missing things. Not everything, just enough. Like someone had taken what mattered most and left the rest behind. That's when I knew. This wasn't temporary. This wasn't a mistake. They had left, and they hadn't planned on coming back. I stood there for a long time, trying to understand something that didn't make sense, trying to find a reason, a clue, anything. There was no note, no message, no explanation, just absence. I checked their room. Closet half cleared, drawers open and empty, suitcases gone. My hands started shaking. I grabbed my phone, called my mom, straight to voicemail, called my dad, same thing, again, nothing. It didn't feel real. It couldn't be real. Parents don't just disappear. Not like that. Not without saying something. Not without taking their kid with them. But mine did. That night, I didn't sleep. I sat on the couch, staring at the door like it might open at any second, like they'd walk in and say it was all a misunderstanding. They didn't. Morning came, then afternoon, then night again. Still nothing. Eventually, someone noticed. A neighbor, a teacher. I don't even remember who first realized something was wrong. I just remember the questions. Where are your parents? I don't know. When will they be back? I don't know. It became my answer to everything, because it was the truth. And for a long time, that was all I had. I don't know. No closure. No explanation. Just gone. But life doesn't stop, even when it feels like it should. I was placed with relatives, distant ones, people who took me in because they had to, not because they wanted to. And I learned quickly, when people don't choose you, you learn how to choose yourself. Years passed. I grew up, built something out of nothing. Not easily, not perfectly, but steadily, piece by piece. Until one day, 15 years later, there was a knock at my door, and everything I thought was buried came back, standing right in front of me. The knock came late, not midnight, but late enough that I wasn't expecting anyone. I remember pausing for a second, glancing at the clock. 8:47 p.m. Most people who knew me would have called first. I almost ignored it, but something about it felt persistent. Not loud, not aggressive, just steady. I walked to the door slowly. No rush, no urgency, because whoever it was, they weren't part of my life. Not anymore. When I opened the door, I froze. For a moment, my brain didn't catch up with what I was seeing, because standing there were two people I hadn't seen in 15 years. Older, worn, unfamiliar in all the ways that mattered, but still recognizable. My parents. My mom looked smaller, like life had taken pieces of her over time. My dad stood slightly behind her, quieter than I remembered. Neither of them spoke right away. They just looked at me, like they weren't sure if I was real, or if they had the right to be there. "You've grown," my mom said finally. Her voice was softer, careful, like she was testing each word before saying it. I didn't respond. Because what do you say to people who disappeared from your life without a word? "Can we come in?" she asked. No apology, no explanation, just a request. I held the door where it was, not opening it wider, not closing it either. "Why are you here?" I asked. My dad shifted slightly. "We need to talk." Need. Not want. Not "we're sorry." Need. I nodded once. "Talk," I said, right there, at the door. My mom hesitated, then took a small breath. "We've been trying to find you," she said, "for a while now." I raised an eyebrow slightly. "And now you have." Another pause, the kind that said more than words. Then my dad finally stepped forward a little. "We're not doing well," he said. There it was. Not guilt, not regret. Context. "We lost the house," my mom added quickly. "Things have been difficult." Difficult. I almost smiled at that. Not because it was funny, but because of how predictable it felt. 15 years of silence. And this was the first thing they offered. Their problems. Not their absence. Not what they did. Just what they needed now. And I asked. My voice stayed calm. Flat. Because emotionally, I wasn't where they expected me to be. They exchanged a glance. Then my mom said it. "We were hoping you could help us." Of course. I looked at them. Really looked this time. At the lines on their faces. At the uncertainty in their posture. At the way they stood just slightly too close together. Like they were holding themselves up with whatever they had left. And for a brief moment, I felt something. Not anger. Not even sadness. Just distance. Because whatever connection we once had, it didn't survive what they did. "You left me," I said. Simple. Direct. My mom's expression tightened. "We had our reasons," she replied. I shook my head slightly. "You didn't have a conversation," I said. "You didn't leave a note. You didn't even answer the phone." My dad looked down. My mom's eyes flickered. "We thought you'd be better off," she said. That one almost landed. Almost. Better off. I repeated. "Yes," she said, like she believed it. "We couldn't give you what you needed." "So you gave me nothing?" I asked. Silence. Because there's no good answer to that. "We made mistakes," my dad said quietly. There it was again. That word. Mistakes. Like it was something small. Something accidental. Not a decision that defined someone's entire life. I took a breath. Slow. Controlled. "And now?" I asked. My mom stepped forward slightly. "Now we're asking for a chance," she said. "A chance to fix things." I nodded slowly, then asked the only question that mattered. "For me? Or for you?" She didn't answer. Not directly. She didn't need to, because I already knew. And that's when I realized something important. They hadn't come back because they missed me. They came back because they needed something. Just like the night they left. Their decision had nothing to do with me, and everything to do with themselves. I looked at the door, then back at them, still standing there, waiting, hoping, expecting. But for the first time, I wasn't the one waiting anymore. I was the one deciding what happened next. I looked at them for a long moment, then stepped back and closed the door. Not slammed, not angry, just final. A soft knock followed, then silence. I didn't open it again, because some doors aren't meant to be reopened. They had 15 years to come back for me. They chose not to, and now I was choosing the same. Not out of revenge, but out of respect for the life I built without them.